have to tell you something. Everybody that knows my age, they say to me, you're lying, you're lying. I say, how do you look so young? I'm going to tell you to keep you young. I drink a lot of water, and I pee a lot. I do a lot of exercise, and I sweat a lot. And I've had a lot of sex, and I smile a lot. Okay. How's everybody doing?
Great, great.
Okay, let's get this show on. I have to have helpers. Can you all hear me?
Yep.
I'm clear. This elderly couple decide to buy a computer. So they don't know anything about how to work it. The wife says you have to have a username and you have to have a password. So the man thinks he'll be funny and he puts it as his password, PENIS. And he steps aside. His wife comes over and she's laughing and laughing. He said, what are you laughing at? He says, it was rejected because it's not long enough. This elderly lady is running through the nursing home with her fist up in the air. She said, anybody who can guess what I have in my hand can have sex with me tonight. The man at the end of the hall says, elephant. She says, close enough. Okay, you want some more?
Oh, yeah!
His buddy goes out with his buddies one night and he tells his wife he won't be home late. Well, it's midnight and he's dead drunk. His buddy said, we're going to have to get him home, undress him, put him in the bed next to his wife without waking her up. So they get him home, they undress him, fly him on the bed, and they think they're going to play a little joke on him. They tie a blue ribbon around his penis and cover him up. The following morning, the wife gets up, she pulls over the cover, she says, where were you last night? He looks down, he says, I'm not sure, but I think I won first prize. Are you having fun? Okay, the price went up double. This rabbi and this priest were good friends, and they did favors for each other. One day, the priest has to go to a funeral, so he asked the rabbi to take over the confession booth. He says, I don't know anything about it. He says, come, I'll show you. They're both in the booth. In walks a man and he says, Father, forgive me, for I have sinned. He said, what is your sin? He said, I have committed adultery. How many times? 3 times. Say 2 Hail Marys and put $5 into the charity plate. A minute later, a woman walks in. She says, Father, forgive me, for I have sinned. What is your sin? I have committed adultery. How many times? 3 times. Say 2 Hail Marys and put $5 in the charity box. At that point, the rabbi says to the priest, you can go, I know exactly what to do. So he's in there alone, and in walks a lady, and she says, Father, forgive me, for I have sinned. He says, what is your sin? I have committed adultery. How many times? 1 time. He said, I'll tell you what, go out and do 2 more. We have a sale, 3 for $5. Okay, the price went up. Okay. This man goes into the pharmacy and he says he wants a box of condoms. He says, what kind? He says, you have more than 1 kind? He says, yes. We have a box of 6 for Catholics every day and not on Sunday. We have a box of 8 for Baptists every day and twice on Sunday. And we have a Jewish kind, 12. January, February.
Where are these jokes coming from?
Okay, we're getting back to the penis again. This man is in a terrible accident and his penis gets cut off. He's in the emergency room. The doctor says, don't worry, I can make you a new one. A small one is $5, $5,000. medium size is 10,000, and a large one is 15,000. Don't give me an answer. I'll be back in a half hour. You talk it over with your wife and find out what you want to do. Comes back in, the man's crying. He says, why are you crying? He says, my wife said she'd rather have a new kitchen. You like my hiding places? This young couple is walking down the street. They happen to see the priest that married them. They started talking, and he says, it's been 2 years ago since your wedding. They said, yes. He says, do you have any little ones? No, we don't. He said, well, I'm going to Rome tomorrow. Would you like me to light a fertility candle? He said, that would be wonderful. So many years later, this woman's walking down the street with all these kids. She runs into the priest again. The priest says, are all of these children yours? She said, yes. 3 sets of twins and 4 singles. He says, well, where's your husband? He went back to Rome to blow out that damn candle. This man goes into the pharmacy and he says, I want 1 Viagra and I want you to cut it into 4 pieces. He says, sir, this is not going to see you to sex. He says, who cares about sex? I wanted to stick out a little so when I pee, I don't pee on my shoe. Like my hiding places?
Yeah.
This nurse is walking down the hall and she hears somebody crying. Walks into the room and she hears Charlie crying. She says, what's the matter, Charlie? He says, it's dead. What's dead? My penis. How do you know it's dead? I touched it and it doesn't move. She said, oh, I'm so sorry. Let me give you a hug. Gives him a hug. She said, do you feel better now? He says, yes. Following day, she's walking down the hall again. She sees Charlie standing in the doorway in his pajamas and his penis is hanging out. She walks up to him and she says, Charlie, I thought you told me your penis was dead. I did. Today's the viewing. Rebecca, I missed my bag. I have no hiding places. I'm coming. This woman is married to a traveling salesman, and every time when he's out of town, she invites her boyfriend to come over. Well, the boyfriend's there, and they're just about ready to make love, and she hears the door open. She says, oh my goodness, he came home early. Go, jump out of the window. Goes to the window and comes back. He says, I can't jump out of the window. She said, why not? We're on the 13th floor. She says, now's not the time to be superstitious.
Oh, yeah.
We got all mine.
Okay. I'm going to let somebody come up and pick out a joke.
Josh, you're close.
Andy. Go ahead, Andy. Pull it out, Andy.
You went to the place?
Let us know if it's time for the viewing, Andy.
I like the first place one better.
Sally gets a phone call that her grandfather had died. Grandfather's 90 years old. She rushes over to the grandma's house and she said, Grandma, tell me what happened, exactly what happened. She said, well, your grandfather and I were making love. He had a heart attack and he died. He says, Grandma, don't you know at your age there are certain things you shouldn't be doing? She says, oh no, honey, your grandpa and I had a good plan. We would do it nice and slow, like to the rhythm of the church bell. In on ding and out on dong. And if that ice cream truck hadn't come along, we still been
Wow.
moms died, and they're up before the pearly gates, and St. Peter says, you know what, you ladies did such wonderful things on earth. I'm going to allow you to go back to earth for 6 months, and you can be whoever you want. One lady says she wants to be Sophia Loren. Poof, she's back on earth, and she's Sophia Loren. The other lady says, the other nun says, I want to be Alberta Piccolini. I don't think there is an Alberta Piccolini. So there is. She picks up her robe, takes out the newspaper, and it says, Alberta pipeline was laid by 600 men. This 8-year-old boy and 8-year-old girl are close friends. They eat lunch every day together, and they like chicken, so they always have a chicken sandwich. One day, the little girl comes with a peanut butter and jelly sandwich. He says, why are you eating peanut butter and jelly today instead of chicken? And she says, I'm starting to get feathers down there. He says, can I look? He looks, he says, oh yeah, I can see it. It's a good thing you stopped. 2 days later, the little boy comes with a peanut butter and jelly sandwich. I said, why are you eating peanut butter and jelly today and not chicken? He says, I'm starting to get feathers down there too. She says, can I look? She looks, she says, oh my God, you even got a neck and a gizzard.
Wow.
This priest is talking to his class of 5- and 6-year-old children. He says, who knows what a resurrection is? This little boy says, I do. What is it? If you get one and it lasts for 4 hours, you better get to the hospital. Ten-year-old Tony lives with his mother and his grandmother. One day, Tony comes home from school, and the grandma says, how was your day today? It was fine. What did you learn? Well, he learned about the penis, about the vagina. She says, you stop that dirty talking. You go right to your room and don't come down for dinner. The mother comes home and she says, where's Tony? So the grandma explained what happened. She says, Mom, he's learning facts of life in school instead of on the street. She says, oh, I'm so sorry. I'm going to go up and apologize. She goes up and she sees him on the bed and he's masturbating. She says, sweetheart, when you're finished with your homework, you can... This elderly couple live in a high-rise apartment on the 23rd floor. One day, the woman says to her husband, I'm going to play bingo, and I don't know what time I'll be back. She gets to the bingo place, and there's a big sign that it was canceled. So she comes home, she opens the door, and she sees her husband in bed with a woman. She starts screaming, what's going on here? The woman runs out. She goes to the husband, and she starts pushing him and pushing him. Finally, she pushes him right out the window. The next day, she's arrested. The judge says to her, is it true you pushed your husband out the window? Yes. How do you plead, guilty or not guilty? Not guilty. What do you mean not guilty? I figure if he could screw at 92, he should have been able to fly. I got one more down there.
Best for last.
Anybody want to search?